Hello, I am Willie with Remember Your Dash. I wanted to explain a little bit about what we do and also what the Dash actually means. We are a real estate investment company, Remember Your Dash. We buy and sell and wholesale uh, hotels, apartments, and some single family. We do student housing and assisted living facilities. Okay, well, so now let me tie into what Remember Your Dash mean. Okay, so a lot of times you would see like a phone number say 555 dash 1212. Well, of course, that dash just separates a set of numbers. Or you might see Lily Thompson, born 1913 dash 2013. Let's just say that, okay? Well, that dash incorporates everything that happened within your life between those two numbers from the moment you're born and to the moment you're not. So, for example, if you got married, if you started a business, had children, raised a family, broke some hearts, mended some hearts, that sort of thing. Everything that has happening, that has happened, everything that's actually happened within your life is incorporated within that dash. Okay, so that dash is extraordinarily important to you. Okay, so I'm going to explain my dash. Okay, and then maybe some of you can relate, and maybe you can take the subject matter out and incorporate your own subject and incorporate this with your dash, perhaps. Well, in my dash, uh, I'm heavily into real estate. I've been in real estate, interested in real estate since I was 7 years old. I grew up in Oakland, okay, and I didn't grow up in the best part of Oakland. Oakland has a little bit of a reputation, and what you've heard about Oakland, that's the part I've actually grew up in. Okay, but so I lived in the flats. Okay, now off into the distance there were hills, and you could see these homes up on these hills, and these homes are like today would be considered $1 million homes. Okay, so I would sit back while living in the flats and look up and I would dream of living in these homes. Okay, and I'm like, wow, okay, it would be so nice to be able to live in these homes. And my mom, as an outing, would take us to the hills, and we would go up the hills and kind of, take a drive by these homes and go home watching, I guess you could say, or home scouting, or window shopping at homes, I guess you could say. And so we would do that, and we'd look at the view, and I would always be imagining, like, wow, this is nice. I can actually live in here, that sort of thing. So, sometime after that, of course, I was still like 7 years old when, as far as I can remember, it probably happened earlier. But I was seven. Um, but, maybe a little bit of time after that, I came across this real estate book, all right? And it was a book that was centered on luxury homes, that was centered in these hills. And so I would, turn the pages like, oh my gosh, I could live here. Like one of the houses was like one of these big houses. It was tri-level. Now remember, I'm 7 years old, so this is 1979. Okay, and so it was a tri-level house. It had an elevator in the home, and on top of the house, on top of the elevator, like at the highest level, the elevator could stop. And the back of the elevator was glass, and so you can actually sit and overlook the city in this elevator. And it was like a lounge, that sort of thing. It's nice for the 70s. This is pretty cutting edge. And I'm like, wow, I could do that. And so this house, I can remember the price way back then was $395,000. Okay, I was like, wow, okay, this it's kind of expensive for a house that would probably in the 70s sell for about 15, maybe $20,000. So this is a lot of house, obviously. And so I would imagine, I would dream, okay, and then I had this weird idea. Okay, well, if people are willing to pay 395,000 for this house, maybe they might pay $405,000 in that house, and that $10,000 would be the difference between me buying and selling it to someone else for the additional 10. I was already thinking wholesaling, all right. And at that moment, I actually wanted to be in real estate. Okay, I had a dream of being in real estate and selling these type of homes. Okay, so now fast forward about 20 years. Okay, I'm in a car lot and I'm buying a car. Okay. And the guy who was helping me, his name was Joe. Okay. He was a finance manager. at this place. And of course, he was special financing because I had struggled credit. And so he was working a way for me to get this car. And we, through the course of, getting to know each other, we're kind of negotiating back and forth about, hey, man, $400 a month is a little bit high for a car payment. That's what I'm thinking. And Joe was like, yeah, no, it's not really, that sort of thing. And so we were going back and forth. So while we were in the course of going back and forth, his phone rings, okay? And so he picks up his phone. He's like, excuse me, I have to take this call. So I can only hear his side of the conversation. And in the conversation, I can hear him say, oh, yeah, okay, so we got the lot. Good. We can subdivide it, make about 150,000, make 150 homes out of it. We'll